In a turn of events laden with disappointment and deceit, Sira's anticipation to meet the governor and discuss the future of her land and the oil discovery was met with silence. The governor never showed up as expected. 2 weeks passed in this state of uncertainty until a shocking revelation surfaced. The chief, acting as the intermediary, relayed the news that the governor had decided to allow the white men from Royal Shell to commence oil drilling operations. This decision, reportedly authorized by the president, caught everyone off guard. The villagers were in disbelief. The corrupt governor had outmaneuvered them, bypassing their concerns and rights. Powerless against the political machinations, the community felt betrayed and helpless. Adding to the sense of injustice, the governor offered Sira payment for her land, a gesture that seemed like a mere formality. However, weeks and months passed without any monetary compensation. Meanwhile, the drilling by the oil company escalated, its impacts far-reaching. Other lands were affected, and the village's rivers, once teeming with life, were now contaminated with oil. This environmental catastrophe led to the disappearance of fish, driving up the cost of food and plunging the village into hardship. The chief, once a figure of authority and respect, found himself unable to counter these developments. His surprise and sadness mirrored the sentiments of his people. In stark contrast to the village's plight, the governor thrived in his corruption. Flaunting his ill-gotten wealth, he indulged in luxurious cars, constructed a grand mansion, and spent money extravagantly. This display of opulence amidst the villagers' suffering painted a grim picture of inequality and injustice, as the once peaceful and self-sufficient community grappled with the consequences of greed and exploitation. Sira, witnessing the stark contrast between the governor's opulent lifestyle and the plight of her fellow villagers, decided to take action. Her initial attempt to address the issue was through a letter to the governor, but it was callously discarded, a clear indication of his disregard for her concerns. Undeterred, Sira resolved to confront the governor directly, hoping for a more personal appeal at his lavish mansion. Upon her arrival, she was met with the stark reality of the governor's affluence. The mansion was a symbol of the wealth and power that had been amassed at the expense of her village. However, her attempt to enter and plead her case was promptly denied. Instead, she was confronted by the governor's wife, who emerged with guards. Sira, maintaining her composure and politeness, explained her position and the simple yet vital request for fair compensation for her farm. She also voiced the suffering of the other villagers, highlighting the widespread impact of the governor's decisions. However, her pleas were met with contempt. The governor's wife questioned Sira's authority to speak on behalf of the villagers. She asked
Who
Sira
made you
very
spokesperson,
rudely,
you fool?
Who made you village spokesperson? And dismissed her with a cold reminder that the orders came from the president. In a final act of dismissal, Sira was pushed out, symbolizing the apathy and power imbalance that plagued her community. This encounter starkly illustrated the vast gulf between the corrupt and powerful and the ordinary villagers, whose lives were being upended without any semblance of justice or consideration. Sira's quest for fairness and compensation was met with indifference and hostility, a painful reminder of the challenges faced by those standing up against corruption and exploitation. The situation in Sira's village escalated dramatically when she, driven to her limits, decided to take a stand. Rallying a group of 15 strong local men, they embarked on a bold and desperate mission. Their target was the oil drilling operation that had brought so much disruption and despair to their lives. In a surge of defiance, they managed to halt the drilling, causing significant damage to the equipment. This act of resistance sent the workers, including the foreign team from Royal Shell, fleeing for safety, leading to a complete shutdown of the operation. During this chaotic confrontation, Sira learned a shocking truth from one of the captured workers. The governor had received a staggering sum of $20 million, supposedly to facilitate the drilling operation and to compensate Sira for her land. Stunned, Sira confronted the reality that she had been blatantly deceived and denied her rightful share. She had not received a single dime of this fortune. However, the governor's response to this uprising was swift and severe. Armed police and military forces were dispatched, leading to the arrest of Sira and her group of villagers. They were taken away by helicopter, leaving behind a scene of despair and powerlessness. Sira's mother, witnessing her daughter's arrest, was overcome with grief, a poignant symbol of the villagers' helplessness against the might of corrupt power. Meanwhile, the chief, deeply concerned by these developments, prepared to confront the governor himself, hoping to find a resolution to the mounting crisis. The village, once a peaceful community, now found itself at the heart of a conflict that had escalated beyond their control, setting the stage for a further unfolding of events in part 2 of this gripping story.